Hello my fellow mayors and welcome once again to Perafilozof City Skylines videos. In this one I'll be continuing to develop the city in which I plan to reach 1 million population on the hard mode. If you have watched my previous video, you know that I've started expanding onto this latest area here. I already finished the left side of it, well, looked from this side, it's the left side, and now I'm onto the right side. In the meantime, I did some tweaking around the city. In a few places I switched some commercial for some more offices, some more offices for some more residential. That was in some of the oldest areas. In some of the newest areas I didn't do that change because they were already balanced well enough. While over here I decided to expand a little bit more, create this bridge once again to make it a little bit more straight. You can see that the offices are still not as well developed here, but I'm gonna be fine with this amount of offices and the space I have for them. So the next area would be the generic industry, and then once again 4x4 offices. Now another thing that I've been thinking about is how to deal with the fact that I have so much requirement for, yeah, that would just give me one more spot, so that can be used. The requirement for goods. If you remember from my previous videos, I started importing more and more goods. You can see that a large portion of my city is actually importing goods and I'm not producing enough locally, but I've already spent so much space on industry that I'm starting to question if this is even wise to keep using so much space for industry, as I'm running out of space for teams, and teams are the objective of this let's play. So with the help of one of my subscribers, I decided to actually use a policy that might help with this. That would be the industrial space planning. Now it does cost about 60 per building, 6 credits per building per week for the maintenance of this policy. So it's not inexpensive, it's actually very expensive when you look at just how many industry buildings there are. So I will definitely not be making it global. What I'm going to do is find an area of the city where I have a lot of level 3 industry buildings. That's for example here, and I believe this new area is nicely done at level 3. The newest one is actually still at level 2. Then there are a good enough number of level 3 industrial buildings here, but they're quite small, most of them, and some are still at level 2. While in this part I think has the highest concentration of level 3 buildings. Well, actually this part here and this part here. So my thought was to use that policy in only these two areas and then see how big of an effect is this going to bring me. This area here is divided actually into 3 parts because not all of them have the high-tech housing. This one here does not. I believe it was because I saw a problem with them leveling, and therefore I had not used the high-tech housing here. But as you can see here, the leveling seemed to have well, leveled out, and a lot more of these were up to level 4 even without the high-tech housing. So what I'm going to do is actually reconnect these two districts across this one, and all of these will have the high-tech housing. So well, actually I will just expand this one and it should cover all of these 3 districts that are here now, like this. Fix the boundaries, remove any extra parts that I do not need. I also switched this part here where I had commercial for more industry, as I noticed even though I do have a high demand for commercial, I haven't noticed my teams demanding that much commercial. I just noticed that I was importing a lot of goods, creating more traffic than I needed. Although the commercial buildings do create the highest income for my city, that is true, and pretty much that's what's keeping me afloat. But they are also creating a problem where I need so many commercial buildings because of the demand that requires workers and space. Then I need a lot more industry in order to satisfy the good demand from that commercial demand. And in the end, what that does is actually take away more of the actual space that I need for teams who are going to move in for high density residential areas, that I should be using for that instead of the industry and commercial. So my thought was to actually reduce the overall amount of commercial, but at the same time increase some of the amount of goods. So I removed some of the commercial, switched it for offices, then switched those previous offices for residential, so I would move in more teams. That is going slowly. As you can see, some of the areas have yet to move back in. While at the same time I have unzoned some of the commercial like you saw me do just now, and I'm going to choose this district here, and this district over here to be two districts that are going to do the highest. Yeah, those guys are sick. Probably pollution very close. Yeah. Well, all I can do for you is unzone and zone back as commercial. That's about it. The pollution is coming off from the incineration plants. So like I said, I will be using the industrial space planning in this district and in this one. And now I will go to speed 3 and watch the imports. I am going to have an increase in imports because in order for the industry to produce twice as many goods, they have to import twice as many products and raw goods. As you can see here, more of the industrial buildings are getting colored in the appropriate color that they are importing. So there are more green, blue, yellow ones popping in. Now that I take a look at my exports, I can still see that I'm not exporting goods, which means that I'm supposed to still have enough goods just for my city. But what I'm hoping is that by increasing the production from these areas here, I will reduce the overall number of buildings, the commercial buildings who are importing goods from the region, and then getting those goods from those extra industrial buildings who will be producing more. And we can see that the imports are now at 10,200, while I'm expecting to see more of these buildings become white, the commercial buildings, who are at the moment pink. That will tell me that this policy actually does what it's supposed to and creates more goods for these commercial buildings to use the locally produced ones instead of importing. And now we've got 9,900. The only problem is I can't specifically look for the increase or decrease on this number and the scale because of the fact that it also presents me with the scale and numbers for the goods being imported, the products being imported to turn into goods in the generic industry. So I can only look at the visual clues for the commercial building who are pink, which means that they're importing goods, and then if they turn white, I will know that they've stopped importing. I guess this will take some time to show up and update, while I have increased my weekly policies expense by around 2,000 by using the industrial space policy in those two districts. Now my population is at around 211,000 and I have yet to develop all the areas towards the edges. You can see here that almost all of the residential areas here are filled. So I'm planning on developing this district further up here, and then once it covers those areas, they will have a higher tax, but also have the high-tech housing, which will increase the level. So as you can see here, there's going to be green arrows and buildings rebuilding in order to go up to level 4, although a good portion of them were already at level 4. I guess just good service coverage is to blame, or should I say tank. Now over here, as I'm reaching the ends, the other part of reducing the amount of goods imported is to find places where I have commercial at level 2, so that it did not level to level 3, for example, like over here. Then look at the amount of pollution and see if there's any pollution here. No pollution close by. The first part is here for the pollution, so these buildings, which means that what I could do is dezone some of these commercial buildings and turn them into residential. Now this will have a twofold effect. First of all, it's going to expand the land value a bit further and help these leftover commercial buildings develop better and faster to level 3, as the land value will increase as there are more residential buildings close by. And also it will reduce the global amount of goods that I need to be importing. Now this will reduce some of the workplaces, the open jobs, and it might lead to a reduction in the actual need for the demand for residential zones, and might reduce the amount of teams moving in. It's a gamble, and I'm going to try it out on a few places, not many, so to speak, to see just what actually is going to be the effect. So I need to look around the city and see where I do not have level 3 commercial buildings, but also not have pollution close by, so that I can move sims into those areas. For example, over here, these things are all level 2. Some of them are very close to leveling up to level 3. And then I could switch some of them, not those down there definitely, but these up here, for residential, as because they will not be close to any pollution and have any problems being a residential in these areas. I will do the same in a few more places across the city. Let's see, for example, over here, what do we have? Almost level 3. This guy's never gonna go to level 3. Well, there's definitely no... yeah, there is pollution here. Okay, some other place then, not in the first area. Let's see over here. How's the pollution? Present, so we can't do anything there. Over here perhaps. So no pollution, that's good. And the buildings are not close to level 3. But the trick is that there's offices here, so that wouldn't actually work out. So that plan can only work out in the areas where I have commercial next to the residential zones, and not in the areas where I have offices next to the commercial zones. I mean, it's possible to switch that around in the old areas, and I might even do it at some point, but not right now. So to continue with this plan at the moment, I think this area will not have pollution. This small area here. Let's see their levels actually. Oh, they're very close to leveling up to level 3. So not too many. Maybe just this one here and this one here. I switch for high density residential. And then let's see if I can find any more. See here, I've got like 3 lines of commercial, so I'll reduce that to 2 and be able to have more of them be residential. I can see that these guys are close to leveling up, so I won't bulldoze these. While over here, for example, these guys will not be leveling and they do not have pollution, at least not here. This one is not leveling and it does not have pollution, so this one can be changed as well. Let's see over here. This one is leveled, this one is not gonna level and it has no pollution. So this one can be changed as well. Any more? Over here I see they have not leveled. Do they have pollution? No, they do not. Well, at least not too much or too close. It's close but not exactly on them. And as for these areas, let's see. So over here and the level, not there yet. So here as well, I will switch for some more residential. These guys have leveled up nicely, so I won't be touching those guys. I think I can change anything in here. As for these newest areas, I can take a look here. I believe, yeah, some of these could get changed. So this guy here and this guy here. Anybody else? Let's see, any pollution here? No. And the level? Well, they are close to leveling up, so I won't change those. How about over here? Nope. Shouldn't change anything here. These guys, also close to leveling, so won't change them. These guys over here might have a hard time leveling, so them I will change. Okay, and I think I'm pretty much done with the guys that I could change up. Maybe just take a look over here. Good amount of pollution, but on the right side, nothing close by. And these guys up to here are leveling, but these guys over here will not. So let's take care of these guys here and turn them into high density residential. Should have not changed that big one, but it's fine. Alright, anything else? These guys here, close to leveling, won't change them. This guy here, also close. Okay, and here, maybe. Yeah, how about a line over here? This would do. And these areas I seem to have some of them not leveling as well, so I will change these guys up as well. Some bad leveling going on here. Let's exchange them for residential as well. And what do we have here? Very bad leveling. And hopefully no pollution. Well, there is pollution. So maybe just this area over here. So that's pretty much the global change that just happened. And the amount of goods you can see. The part of the pie is much smaller now. And I should see a lot less pinky commercial buildings, and I don't even see any at all. That would pretty much be mission successful, and I do not need to change anything else, but I will change how I will be zoning from now on. I'll be doing a little bit of less commercial closest to residential, and on those places where there won't be pollution, I'll be switching for some residential buildings. Like you can see here, no pollution, but very low leveling from the commercial, and then I switch it for a few residential buildings. So I might actually zone 2x2, let them build up, see where they're not going to level up easily, and then switch those for more residential buildings. This area leveled up pretty much completely, although some are so close to leveling, yet they need a little bit more land value, which is kind of hard to get on the edges because of the way land value is calculated, so nothing can be done about that. As for in here, this area is kind of finished, and I might as well make a new district here, which is going to have the higher taxes. So let me just pause the game for a moment. Create a new district and put in the required policies, so big business manufacturer, high-tech housing, tax rates for high density residential, pet ban, and parks and recreation. That should take care of that area. I do need to probably just check how the district is now. Looks good. This is out of the district. Done in the highway. And that's pretty much done. This area could soon enter that district as well, even though it seems to be leveling up on its own, which is excellent. Don't even need high-tech housing that much, but I will still use it to get most of the buildings to level up, as they do take more sims in. My income is rather lower now, and that is expected since I did lose some of the high-density commercials, which are my highest income. And so I will have to be careful when I'm balancing the budget in the future. In the meantime, I can see here that I can continue expanding. Like I said, I will keep using the 2x2 commercial zones, but I will keep an eye on which of these zones can actually be reduced and created back to residential once they actually go up, and I can see which ones are going to level up and which ones are not. I will extend the streets a little bit further. See about the buses. I already created some of the extra bus lines, but I did not finish up the metro line, and I should place the next stop right about here in the industrial area. So that would be here. Connect it with the infrastructure and connect it with the lines. So this one here, the blue and the green. That pretty much takes care of everything here. The next area can be residential. It's gonna go across the road, which I don't particularly like because of the fact of the noise pollution, but what's done, it's done. How many do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So another 2 here for that half zone, so that would be 3 zones, and this would be the 4th. And in case I can add any more here instead of the commercial buildings, I will add in some more residential. So basically this would be enough for this video. The population might not have increased that much because I did a lot of managing and redoing some of the zones. Interesting. So you want to go forward from there and you want to turn from there. That's a job for the traffic manager. Changing lanes so that they can only go left on this one and forward on this one. I could probably go and do this everywhere. It would fix some of the problems here. But I guess as I am building a bigger and bigger city, and the agents, because they are limited, they will get sparser and sparser. They will not create too many problems with this for very long. But yeah, I could always fix up some of these streets where I see congestion and trouble for them to take a right or a left or keep going forward where they should be turning. Yeah, here it's the same thing, so only turn on the left and only continue forward on the right and the middle. Well, like I said, that would be pretty much everything for this video. Thank you all for watching and please stay tuned for more.